What you're seeing here is the next generation Ford Territory, just 3 years after the first generation model came into market. Unlike the previous generation Territory, which is actually more of a rebadged Yusheng S330, this car now has a stronger relation with Ford's R&D team. Though this new Ford Territory, which is called the Equator Sport in China, is still the result of Ford's joint venture with JMC. But basically the gist here, mas may involvement na ang Ford sa R&D ng kotseng ito. 2 variants will be sold in the Philippines, a base titanium which you see here in red, and a top-of-the-line titanium X which tops out at 1.5 million pesos. And then as for features, both cars look pretty much identical from the outside, with the main major difference being their alloy wheels, 18s for the titanium and 19 inches for the titanium X. Both variants also get full LED lighting, smart entry with push-button start, just to name a few. But if you move inside, you'll see that the 2 variants are actually quite unique from each other. So now moving inside the new Ford Territory, we're currently in the top-of-the-line Titanium X. So in a weird turn of things, the base model is now the Titanium. So here in the Titanium X, as you're gonna see, you have a panoramic sunroof, a white colored interior. It's a really interesting color because it's not your usual black interior that you would see, especially in Philippine market cars. Yun nga lang, we're not, of course, sure on how this will last in terms of the cleanliness of the interior in such a bright color. So in terms of the aesthetic, it's very modern, very minimalist in terms of yung kanyang design. It's a huge improvement, I think, compared to the previous generation Ford Territory, which sort of lost its novelty for me just a few years after hitting the market. Ngayon, here it looks more elegant, more timeless, especially with the faux open pore wood trim that you see here. Even in the base titanium variant, you also get that. So in terms of the overall quality, there's plenty of soft touch materials. That's actually the order of the day here. Kanang generous amount of soft touch plastics and leaded surfaces across the doors, even the rear doors, by the way, and on the dash. Your controls are actually of a high quality for the most part, no? Because while the overall material quality has significantly improved compared to the previous generation Ford Territory, yung controls nga na for the infotainment system, which are actually here just before or below the rotary gear controller, they're like one of those plastic chrome things na that you see in like your very cheap toy, no? So feeling ko tong mga chrome details here would mapapagbak yan eventually in the future. Pero yeah, it's just a first impression naman. So overall naman, for now, it looks really nice. But yun nga, it's one of those things na eventually baka in the future would mapapagbak siya because yun nga, it's one of those like plastic chrome finishes, no? Right beside the hazard button are controls for the climate control, or at least just some of the controls, because if you want to change the temperature and all that, you still have to go through the infotainment system. Okay, so rant mode on for me on that part, because alam niyo naman ako, guys, I don't like manufacturers putting the climate controls in the infotainment. But other than that, the interior is really a huge step up from the previous generation Ford Territory. The 2 screens here look really elegant. Yung kanyang framing, the 2 giant screens here housed in a single glass bezel. So speaking of those screens, here in the Titanium X, or actually even in the base Titanium, a 12-inch, thereabouts 12-inch infotainment screen is standard across all variants, and it comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You also have a digital instrument cluster which is standard across all variants then, but here in the Titanium X, it's a bigger around 12-inch screen din yung kanang instrument cluster, whereas in the Titanium, it's around, I think, an 8-inch screen for the digital gauges. There's still digital gauges pa rin naman. It's more of just the visual aspect yung pinagkaiba ng dalawang variants sa driver information display niya. Then as for other features, you also get power adjustable driver seat. You also have a wireless charging pad on both variants. Then here in the Titanium X, you also have heated and cooled front seats. You also have a powered tailgate, and of course, as mentioned, you have this panoramic sunroof, which you don't get in the base Titanium. Then in terms of safety features, in the base Titanium, you actually get blind spot warning with rear cross traffic alert and the 360-degree camera system as standard. But stepping up here to the Titanium X, you now get the full suite of advanced driver assistance tech, which now adds automatic emergency braking and adaptive cruise control with stop and go functionality. That's pretty much it for the new Ford Territory. It's really generously equipped whichever variant you choose and whichever budget constraint you have. You're gonna get a really generously equipped compact crossover SUV. So now we're driving the new Ford Territory, but only here around Okada since this car hasn't been technically launched in the market yet. And back here with me is Kyle and Julian. Kyle from Kyle Yung Cars and Julian from AutoPage, of course. What do you think of the back, guys? I mean, what's the situation there, the back?
The previous Territory was very spacious, but this new one is even more spacious. The seats, they feel a lot more supportive. They're a lot firmer too, but also still gives you enough padding for a lot of comfort.
So from the back seats, are they a huge improvement, I'm assuming, compared to the previous model?
I find it to be a big improvement, especially thigh support. I kind of found it a little bit lacking at times with the older one, but this one is pretty good.
So I don't think it's as spacious as the previous one, but you're right, it does have more thigh support, so it does feel a lot more comfortable compared to the one before.
First impressions based on the DCT, but it's okay. Like, it's not rough. At least, again, first impressions, our opinions will surely change after a longer drive. And doesn't have that much of the clunky feel that you would usually find in a DCT. There's a bit of lag, pero I mean, it's like yung sakto lang. Like, something that you can adjust to and deal with on a daily basis naman. Nothing too dramatic, I guess, in that respect. Steering's light, as usual with these cars. It's very light. It makes it easy to go around the city because of the light saving. But in terms of feedback, I guess it's not more of a sporty SUV. It's more of a comfort-oriented SUV. Pero based on our first impressions, it's really, I think, improved a lot compared to the previous generation, especially in terms of how it drives in the city. I think the DCT really improves upon the CVT of the previous model, which you're gonna try out soon. Pag kayo naman yung umupo dito sa harap, guys. So refinement wise, tsaka mas is in fairness yung 7-speed DCT na yun, hindi siya jerky.
Not at all.
It's ang smooth niya, di ba? Usually pag DCT kasi may notoriousness siya for being jerky.
Let's see from a stop.
Engine start stop kicked in. Okay din, parang okay engine start stop niya.
Yeah, it's much better than usual.
Oo.
At saka, usually mga DCT kasi diba, parang nag-hang yung revs, like...
Oo, yun nga, may rev hang siya.
But you don't move.
Yeah.
This one is for every DCT.
Oo nga, roll back, yeah.
He'll hold the lot of stuff.
Pero kasi like even the Audi, for example.
Yung parang there's clunkiness ka ba sa hills,
May hill start assist na rin yun.
Yung sa'yo kasi, Julian, dry clutch ba?
So...
Oh nga, that's an interesting question.
So
Is this
even
a
the
dry
China-
clutch or a wet clutch?
Just
Probably a wet clutch.
Wet.
Okay, that answers your question kaya plus smooth. It's a wet DCT pala. So based on our short drive, it's already easy to see the improvements made to the new Ford Territory. And kung dito pa lang sa short drive pansin na ang kanyang improvements, what more if you take it out on a longer drive? So, if you're compelled to buy a brand new Ford Territory, you can either wait for our full review to come out soon, or kung talagang di kayo makapaghintay, these new Ford Territories will arrive in dealers starting today. Though as usual, our opinions can and will change once we have this car for a much longer term.